Hey, what's up guys, this is Gamestork, and before this video, I need you to know that I'm in need of your help to replace my PC. You can help me out by going to gofundme.com/Gamestork and give any amount, and I'll give you a shout out in any of my videos after that. Thank you so much in advance for your help in bringing the best content possible. Enjoy this video. Hey, what's up guys, this is Jeff with Gamestork, and believe it or not, the Nintendo Switch can hang with this generation of gaming.
Gamestork, delivering news, reviews, and playthroughs like a newborn baby.
So there's a lot of swirling and twisting and turning going around about all the talk about Nintendo's newest awesome little console called the Nintendo Switch. Now, some people believe that it couldn't run a soda can or a photo of it. Some people think that it is very capable and it could keep up with this generation. Other people just tend to believe whatever they hear. So, which typically lands them into the Sony PlayStation fanboy land of thinking Nintendo is garbage. Well, Nintendo's absolutely not garbage. This is an excellent console. You know, I would have accepted that on the Nintendo Wii U, where they didn't really do much or prove much, although they did have some solid games. But the Nintendo Switch can absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, hang with this generation of gaming. And let me show you a few examples why. The first thing I want to point out is that third-party developers need time to port their games. Even if it's a new game, they need time to port those games over to the Nintendo Switch. Early partners like the creators of NBA 2K18 were there early. They began development early. They began the port process of their new game early. They had the dev kit early. And look at what's happening. The full game of NBA 2K18 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Also, the special edition versions, everything the exact same as the other editions. Now, this isn't to say that the graphics won't be downscaled to some degree. But we're not talking downscale as far as like a Game Boy Advance or something ridiculous like I've seen in the comments before. We're talking about mild differences in details that you probably wouldn't notice anyway on the go. Now, not every gamer wants to sit and have every game in one spot playing in 4K. Most games look perfectly fine in between 720 and 1080p. The challenge to these developers is not the power of the Nintendo Switch, which we'll get into later, but rather the switching from the 1080p dock mode to the low power state, which is the portable mode. So the 4GB RAM is plenty capable of running these games because of the very small operating system on the Nintendo Switch that takes up very little RAM to run, so NBA 2K18 is fully capable of playing. Now, another game quickly I just want to look at is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And a lot of people would say this game is not a big deal, but the fact is, the full game is coming to the Nintendo Switch and is said to look just as good. It has all the characters, it's looking to get all the DLC, all these things are going to happen for this game. And I don't know if you guys have played this game, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this game. This game is very labor intensive on the system, and it is very impressive that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is coming over to the Nintendo Switch. Not to mention that this proves support of things like Yebus, which is running on the Nintendo Switch, which gives more developers more options to create. The next game is a Nintendo's first party game that's coming called Xenoblade 2. And now, this game, all we've seen is a gameplay trailer, but let me tell you, the world in this game is going to be huge. If you played the first Xenoblade, it was a marvel to try to figure out how they got that game on the Wii U, honestly. It was insane. Insanely impressive how big that game was. This game looks beautiful. The art looks beautifully rendered. This thing is going to be huge. It's going to be awesome. And I know what you're thinking, well, that's not the most realistic looking game. Games don't have to be realistic looking to challenge console's capabilities. You know, The Legend of Zelda, the physics system, the world, everything that went on in that game in Breath of the Wild would be very challenging to run on any console, and it's really impressive, whether you want to admit that or whether you don't. The last game I want to bring up here, just to prove that it can run, is something that's still technically rumored, okay? But I fully expect this is me, okay? I fully expect this game to come. Why? I'll give you the reasons. This game is coming from Capcom, and as we see, Capcom is pushing out Monster Hunter Double Cross, here very soon. Capcom is pouring out their support for the Nintendo Switch, and they're currently working on optimizing Resident Evil 7. That's not to say that it's fully running yet on the Switch, but everyone knows at this point that Capcom is responsible for the 4 gigabytes of RAM in the Nintendo Switch, because they urged them to put at least that much so that they could run Resident Evil. They had very early intentions to get this game running on the Nintendo Switch. Now, Capcom's attempting to use the RE engine on the Nintendo Switch, according to Games Industry Japan. You guys can look that up. Nintendo Everything also reported on this. And according to those reports, Capcom and Nintendo are discussing how best to optimize the engine on this console. And the way that they talked about this is that they had one big hurdle, because memory-wise, they said 4 gigabytes of RAM was plenty to run this game in dock mode, but the issue was a low power state mode, which still has the same amount of RAM, but slows down the performance in order to save battery. So right now they're attempting to optimize this game to run in the handheld mode, because we have to read between the lines here, to run in the low power state mode so that it runs the same way in both docked and portable. So it's not an issue of this running the game being ported over to a docked system. Hey, it's easy to do, because they've stated that 4 gigabytes is enough to run the game. 4 gigs of RAM is enough. I know you guys are saying, well, what's the point? Nintendo Switch, if it's docked, if it's undocked. I know what you're going to say. Well, there is a point there, because it does run. That's the fact. The Nintendo Switch in itself is the console. The thing you pull out is the console. That's what that is. So there will be a way for them to easily find out how to run this thing in a low power state mode. Eventually it's going to break away. These third-party developers are going to come through, and that's the challenge right now on third-party developers. It's not a party issue, but you know, it's just going to be a hurdle that they have to overcome in order to run these games in a low power state. So the fact is, Nintendo Switch can hang with this generation's games and this generation's consoles. Some of you guys have argued that the PlayStation 4 Pro is a next generation console. No, it's not. It's just a reiteration of the same console that allows for upscaling graphics a little bit. Now, Xbox is marketing Scorpio as the next generation. That seems more plausible. However, it's still going to be competing against itself, and the install base just isn't going to be there. Now, PlayStation 4 wise, they'd be foolish to get away from their system, because their install base is huge right now, and they're making a ton of money, and they have all the leeway on development and early access over everybody. So why would they give that up just to move to a different console? I think it's way too early for that. So they're going to stick with the PS4, and the Nintendo Switch is going to compete hand in hand. Because why? When someone owns a Nintendo Switch and they can get that same game and take it on the go with them, I'm telling you, that marketable idea, the marketability of this system will hold up, and it will compete hand in hand with all the other consoles. Anyway, that's all I have for you today, guys. I hope this point has at least made you think. And this is from my viewpoint, and I believe this is kind of one of those things to where you imagine everybody's like, Capcom, it's not, you know, they haven't confirmed this yet, but just imagine that you go and it's almost Christmas time, and your brother or sister leads you to a closet and they say, hey, come look at this. You open the closet and you see this nice, beautiful car sitting in there with your name on it. And you're like, okay, that's got to be for me for Christmas. And you know what? It's not confirmed yet, because it's not Christmas. You know what I'm saying? It's got your name on it. You see it. You know that it might be coming. But you still have that doubt in the back of your head, like, could it be something else? So until it's confirmed, you don't know. Well, right now, I believe in a lot of situations, we're that kid looking at that car with the Nintendo Switch's name on it, and people are saying, it's not confirmed yet. But the fact is the evidence is there. There's just those small hurdles to overcome in order to physically launch this thing on the console, and they want to make sure that they can run it in the low power state mode in order to launch it where it will run efficiently enough in order for us to enjoy it. So that's my point here. This thing is going to hang. You can hate on Nintendo all you want. I don't hate any console. I love every single one of them. But the fact is, Nintendo gets the most hate simply because that title is stamped onto the front of this console. And everyone is going to see it at E3. Everyone is going to drop their jaw, and there's going to be people that just have a heart attack and just not believe the fact that third-party developers are going to sell out to this game system. And eventually someone below, because of the recent news, is going to bring up the fact that FIFA 18 has been re-announced, I suppose you say, or confirmed to not be FIFA 18 on the Nintendo Switch, but just FIFA for the Nintendo Switch. This is because of a very short development cycle. These guys did not have as much time as they had for the game 2K18 over at this other studio to work on it. They're rushing this over, and they originally wanted to rush it over, test the sales, and as you know, a game, it's just, you know, it's not going to hold up if they don't have the same development time. So this is one of those things. We'll see it. It's probably going to be a very good build anyway, even though it will be downgraded. But the fact that 2K18 is coming out as the same game gives me hope for Madden. It gives me hope for NHL. It gives me hope for all the sports games. And I look forward to seeing those in the very near future. And I honestly believe Nintendo Switch will hang. People can get into the specifics and this and that. And they say, well, the X-ray said about this in the chip and this and this and this is the chip. Well, you know what? It's going to perform. It doesn't matter what's inside of it. If it plays the games, it plays the games. And if you can take it on the go with the games, you can break down what's in there all you want to. But if they can get Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and 2K18 and all these games to run on here, then hey, I'm okay with that. Doesn't matter how much we argue about what's in there, it's going to run them anyway. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so below. I would certainly love to have you here for some unbiased, you know, just a deep look into the Nintendo and what's going on and gaming in general. I mostly cover Nintendo right now because I'm one man, and that's just what I can handle. So I do love all three consoles, and you'll occasionally see some other things. But I invite you to come and subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing. I put out a lot of content each and every day just because I love gaming and I love being able to share my thoughts and what's on my heart with you guys. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Even those of you who disagree with me, I love you too, and thank you for watching all the way to this point. We will see you next time.